Morning. My name is Caitlin Bonner, and my husband, Blake, and I are here today on behalf of our oldest daughter, Lila Bonner, who lost her life during the floods of July 4th. Lila turned 9 on June 26th, 3 days before we drove her into the gates of Camp Mystic. Her two little sisters, Wynn, 2, and Scarlett, 6, are now attempting to navigate a world without her, one that Blake and I never imagined would or could be our permanent reality. Before I begin sharing a speech I never imagined I would have to write, much the way I felt when I wrote my reflection for her funeral, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all today. As her mother, I am haunted by the events that took place on July 4th and wish with every fiber of my being that I was here under different circumstances. When Lila was born, I began writing letters that I planned to one day share with her. I wrote to her on her birthdays, on days when she did something funny or started a new activity, trying to capture precious memories and milestones that I never wanted to forget. I wrote to her on days when I was struggling, hoping that one day they could be a source of comfort and wisdom. Having lost my mom to cancer when I was 12 years old, I wrote these letters to Lila in the event that something ever happened to me. I never imagined that I would be the one reading them to her at her funeral. And most certainly not because she lost her life at Camp Mystic, where I spent 10 summers, 9 as a camper and 1 as a counselor in Bubble Inn. As I struggle to make any sense out of this horrific tragedy, these letters have been a gift I thought I would one day give her, but I now realize they are a gift from her. Lila was special. She was beautiful. She was pure. She was so kind. The most gentle little girl who fiercely loved her little sisters and all of her friends. A friend who preferred to shine her light on the people around her. A light she lit inside of me when she made me a mom. A light she lit throughout the halls and classrooms of Bradfield Elementary. A light she shared with her beloved family and friends. And a light I know she shared with the angels at Bubble Inn. Lila was the epitome of a firstborn child, the best big sister, and a rule follower who respected authority with impeccable manners. In the weeks leading up to camp drop-off, we shopped, organized, and packed her trunk with all the things I knew would make her feel safe. I gave her tips from my experience as a Mystic camper, suggesting she use her drawers for rest time activities and stationery, knowing that she wouldn't be able to get off of her bed during rest hour, per camp rules. We received her dresser drawers with the first round of belongings recovered from camp, and it was no surprise to me to see that she had done exactly what I had suggested. I told her to take horseback riding first if possible, so she didn't have to change into pants after swimming on the quad. I'd yet to see her camp schedule, but received a water-soaked copy from her cabin, and as expected, she'd followed my instructions. Riding was her first activity. I've been told she was voted best manners at her dining table and was a spirited tonk, even though she left camp desperate to be a Kiowa, like me. I will forever be haunted by the fact that I didn't know what I didn't know. I sent her to Camp Mystic to grow closer to God, make lifelong friends, try new activities, and encourage independence. To spend time outside, away from a screen, surrounded by like-minded girls that I knew she would cross paths with for life. I naively assumed she was safer at camp than anywhere else. When I think about the trauma and fear that our girls endured, it makes me physically ill. This loss is one no parent should have to endure. A piece of her purple trunk that I so lovingly and meticulously packed was recovered at the dam, 11.1 miles from camp. Her body, 5.6 miles from camp, behind the Hunt store. Ironically, the last place we were, or the first place we stopped after dropping her at camp. Our 6-year-old started first grade last week without her big sister holding her hand. Our 2-year-old will likely never remember her oldest sister aside from photos and videos. And her friends, who all started 3rd grade last week, have to reconcile how 2 of their classmates perished at summer camp in a flood they also were evacuated from while at neighboring camps. Their stories are harrowing, but they all survived. I'm not here today because I want to be. I'm here because I have to be. Our daughters deserved better, and future campers deserve better. I implore you all to act quickly and pass SB 1 to protect campers before next summer and to ensure that there will never be another Heavens 27 due to camp complacency. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Blake Bonner, and as my wife Caitlin just shared, our daughter Lila was one of the 27 precious lives lost at Camp Mystic on July 4th. I want to thank my fellow Mystic parents for their incredible strength. There's really no explanation for how this group was brought together and given the strength to be here today, other than our girls willing it from heaven. It is our angels who give us the strength to stand before you today. I also want to personally thank each member of this committee. Thank you for your time, and more importantly, for your sustained effort in driving real reform with SB1. We see your stewardship, and we are very grateful. We also want to thank you for your empathy, allowing us and these other parents to share these unbearable stories takes a toll. It isn't easy, and we thank you for listening with open hearts. In the days after Lila's passing, our priest shared something that has anchored us. He said, God did not want this. He never wants a child to die senselessly. My faith has been challenged to its core, but hearing that reaffirmation and knowing what we know now about that night makes one thing painfully clear. This wasn't an act of God. This was an act of pure complacency. A common tragic theme you will find amongst the 27 angels we lost is that they were dutiful, they were perfect children who followed the rules. They did exactly what they were told to do that morning, stay in their cabins. Our daughters paid the ultimate price for their obedience to a plan that was destined to fail. And this risk is obviously not theoretical. As Senator Perry mentioned, these areas are called floodplains for a reason. They flood. This is why this was not an accident. It was 100% preventable failure. It was a failure of planning, prevention, detection, and response, which leads us to the questions that will forever haunt us. Why were our children sleeping in a known high-risk flood zone? Why was the stated evacuation plan to stay in place? Why were there no adequate warning systems in the cabins, despite a similar tragedy on the very river as recently as 1987? Why were summer camps, entrusted with the care of our most precious gifts, exempt from the basic safety standards required of every daycare and school in Texas? These are the questions that demand answers, not only in the form of thoughts and prayers, but in the form of meaningful legislative action. As it's been said, we cannot wait until the 2027 legislative session. To delay action is to tell every parent in Texas that their child's safety is not a priority. It is to accept a risk that has already been paid by the lives of our daughters, our Heavens 27, who paid that ultimate price. We urge you, from the depths of our grief, to act now. Pass meaningful camp safety standards this session in the form of SB1. Honor the memory of our daughters by protecting the lives of others. Do not let another summer pass under this broken system. Thank you.